What's up, Killer Hobbies? Got a treat for you today. We are going to make a fairy, a nasty fairy. Get this bat out of the way. I got this skeleton from the Dollar Tree. I have this larger skull. I'm not sure where it came from. I think it came from one of those bag of bones from Michael's, but I'm not quite sure. I've had it for over a year. Got a set of these arms and hands from the Dollar Tree. And we got a bat with wings. I'm going to take the wings off of the bat. I got another bat here. I've already done that too. And I've got the wings pulled off of there. Okay, so these wings have these little nubs that stick up. So my plan is on the shoulder blades, drill out a little hole where it's nice and tight for these nubs to stick in there. Then be just popped right into the shoulder blades. And I'm gonna go closer out to the edge here because these wings are a little bit small, so they'll be sticking out further. So I'm gonna pop those in there and then glue them so they won't move on both sides. I'm gonna take this head, pull that head off. I'm gonna get this head glued on here. I think probably some E6000. And I'm gonna glue it to where the mouth will be open, maybe turned just a little bit like that. I'm gonna take the set of arms and hands from Dollar Tree. I'm going to get this hot and bend the wrist a little, get the elbow joint hot and bend it a little so it's kind of facing out towards the guy. And the thumb, I'm gonna get hot and bend it out because I have this poison flask or whatever this thing's called. I want this in the hand, in one of the hands of the guy. I got some black light neon paint that I'm gonna pour a little bit in here and let it drip all inside of here so this way it glows under my black light. So these arms are going to, actually these arms, I'm gonna take them off, and these big long arms, I'm gonna glue on here. Probably E6000 is gonna be the best for that. So with these big long arms, this big head, and the wings sticking on here, we are gonna have ourselves a super freaky looking, just weird, fairy looking mummified guy. I'm gonna go over everything with either some toilet paper and latex or some plastic and spray foam to give it a mummified or either a corpse look, maybe even a little bit of both. I'm gonna go through and paint it once everything's glued on here. And then also, real quick before I paint, I'm gonna get the pose that I want. And I think I'm gonna have this thing hanging, so I'll just get the pose that I want and then glue everything tight so it stays in place. Then I'll do the paint, and then I will go back through and I will highlight everything with the neon black light paint. That way this thing will be looking nice and sick, hanging underneath the black light I have outside. I also have this spider, this sensor spider. It's about 2 feet wide, maybe a foot long, and it's connected to this hook that you hang. It's got a sensor in it, and it drops down whenever somebody walks by or makes a loud noise. I might take that spider and motor, or I might take the spider off of the motor assembly and connect it to this guy once this guy's done, because I think this would look much cooler just to come down at you when you're coming up to the door. Then again, I might not. I might just have this thing hanging there or standing there under the black light, just looking cool when you walk up to it. So that's the plan. If you want to follow along with this, you need to go get one of these cheap skeleton guys, a set of hands. That's the normal size skull. This is the size skull I'm going to use. You could go bigger. You could go a little smaller. And you need to get a Dollar Tree bat so you can use the wings. Also, you'll need some liquid latex if you want to do it the way I'm going to do it, or however you're going to make yours look with the dryer lint or the spray foam or the plastic wrap method. I think I might do a little bit of everything, but I definitely will be using the liquid latex. After I paint and get it all situated with the blacklight paint, I will put probably 2 coats of spray clear coat on here, Rust-Oleum or whatever is available to you, just to preserve everything, and that way it can be out in the weather. Also, if you're gonna do this and you get one of these bats to use the wings, get 2 bats, because I'm gonna take another bat, and this will be in another video. We're gonna mummify this bat with liquid latex, kind of the way Monster Tutorials does his, but I'm gonna cut this bat at the neck, or right here where the backbone meets the shoulders here. I'm gonna cut that, and I'm gonna let it come out at an angle here. And since I have this body, I'm gonna cut this one off, and I'm gonna stick it on here so they'll be angled. It'll be a 2-headed bat. So get 2 of those bats if you're gonna do this, because there's another cool project we can do together. So I will get the arms bent up, and then I will be back to show you how to, well, not to show you how to, but to glue them on to the torso, get the head on here, and get the wings on. So I will go ahead and do the arms, the bending of the arms and the finger and the wrist off camera. You just heat it up and bend it. That's all you got to do, and then I'll be back after that. All right, I've prepared some liquid latex here. This right here should be enough to do the wings. And this right here, I'm gonna do the skull with. And I'll do the skull before I mount it on the neck bone. The wings I will do, yeah, maybe I'll do it before I put those on also. I may have to go back and thicken it up right there. But you gotta let this stuff dry, put it on a non-porous surface, and then once it's fully dry, you can come back through with your skull or anything, your hands or whatever, and you just start peeling it up and just wrap it around it. All right, on this skull, obviously it's way bigger than that skull, and the joint for the neck bone fits in there good, but it's just way too small, or the skull is way too big for that one. So I just got a piece of plastic. This is from a Tupperware lid, or storage bin lid. And I'm gonna drill the hole just a little bit bigger to fit down on the neck there. And then I'm gonna glue it on this head with some E6000. That way it'll be a little more sturdy, and maybe I'll even be able to just keep it loose so I can turn it. Or I could glue it into position, but I thought about just putting E6000 on there and gluing it to the joint there, but I think this will give it some more rigidity. So I'm gonna go with that, and then we will work on this arm here. And the liquid latex is just about done for the skull. For the wings, it's still drying up over there. But this is where I'm at right now. Well, I thought since I'm at it, for this skull, I've got this on there gluing. It fits perfect on there, it pops in. So I thought, why not go ahead and drill a hole in the back of this skull. That way it can illuminate with some of these tea lights from the Dollar Tree. So I got my hole saw set up. It's just undersized for the tea lights, so should be able to slide it in there nice and snug, and when the battery's dead, pull it out, throw it away. You get 2 for $1.25 at Dollar Tree. I think that'll be a cool little addition. So I'm gonna do that on the back of the skull. That way the whole skull will illuminate. If you wanna do this, also you could Dremel out the eyes and the nose, and you could glue some thin black fabric back there, and that way the eyes will and the nose will illuminate better. Also underneath, which I might end up doing, right here behind the teeth, if you drill a hole there or Dremel a little bit out, it will shine some light down on the bottom jaw, which will give a cool effect also. Because if you just put the light in the back of the skull, it's still very cool looking, but only the top part of the skull is gonna illuminate. This all down here is gonna be dark. So just drilling that hole will shine some light down there and make it look pretty cool. So I'm gonna get that hole drilled and get that tea light in there, and I'll be back. All right, I'm in my laundry room, so it might be a little bit echoey, but this is the darkest place in the daytime. Got the hole drilled in there. Got the tea light. Just figured I'd show you what it's like before you end up drilling a hole to shine the light down. You can do this on any skull that has the moving jaw. If you put a light in the head, this part's all going to be dark. So if you drill a hole just back here in the roof of the mouth, it'll shine some light down on the lower jaw. So the tea light fits in here nice and snug. If you're worried about it pushing through there, just take a little bit of hot glue along the edge here and just glue like a little shoulder around here. That way when you push the tea light in, it'll catch on that shoulder and it won't push all the way in. So just give you an idea of what it's going to look like. Pop it in there, turn the light off, and it's completely dark in this room, so I think this definitely makes it look cooler, putting a little light in your skulls. So like I say, if you drill a hole down here on the bottom, which you couldn't see that, if you drill a hole here, it's going to shine some light down in here, and it's going to look great. So maybe I'll go ahead and do that, and I'll come right back. Okay, I got a hole drilled in the roof of the mouth there. It's a little hard to pick up how it's making the jaw look on the camera, but it adds a little light down there to the bottom teeth so it looks good. And also on these bottom teeth, I'll put a little white paint or some glow-in-the-dark paint so it'll stand out better. If you guys drill the hole or any kind of hole in your skulls that you don't end up liking, that's fine. You just put some hot glue back over the hole and then paint over it white, and you won't even be able to tell. So there's the skull. I've still got to let this E6000 dry before I can start putting any pressure on it to put it on the body. But that's the skull. So I have this form clay, a bunch of it left over from doing the Audrey plant. And I really want this thing to be creepy. So I'm adding some eyebrows, some upper lip, a really funky looking nose. Maybe I'll add a horn or something. But I really want this thing freaky and nasty looking. So if you have any form clay or paper mache clay or paper clay or anything, definitely make these look nasty. Painting it will really, really bring this to life. I'm just playing with this foam or form clay. Got a little spike for the top, the eyebrows and the nose, upper lip. I'm thinking maybe some horns up here. So I'm just kind of rolling it around, forming it into these little horns. And then just stick them on here. Stuff's really cool to work with. Takes 24 to 48 hours to dry. So this will have to dry for a day or two, but thinking maybe somewhere there. And then when I coat it with the latex, it'll be looking good. So I'm just gonna stick them on there. Doesn't have to be perfect because I'm going to go back over it with the latex. It's just to give it some structure. I think something like that will be cool on both sides. Just take it and just kind of rolling it and pressing flat on one side, just to make like a little dome, like a Hershey Kiss or something. Stick it on there. Get my angle right. Just gonna stick it on there like that. Just press it down. I don't know how good it's gonna stick to this plastic, but if it doesn't stick, once it's dry, I'll just hot glue it on there. And the latex will end up bonding it anyway.
Are you videoing?
Yep. Just trying to get them to look somewhat the same. Don't have to be perfect. I think something like that will look nice and creepy. So I gotta let this stuff dry for a day or two. But in the meantime, I can work on the right arm and the torso. So I'll let this dry. All right, very simple on this technique. I got the latex down, got the wings out here, and like I said, this is not my idea. I got this idea from Monster Tutorial, so I'm not trying to take credit for it or anything. It's just the way I'm gonna do it. So I'm gonna go ahead, and my latex is about this long. I'm gonna split it down the middle here, since I got two wings. And all you do is you start peeling your latex up. And I'm just gonna sit my wing down on here. I'm gonna wrap it around as I pull up the latex.
Looking super nasty, which is great. I want this thing to look creepy.
Gives it that nice kind of see-through look. So these wings are going to look great. Now, if you're worried about setting these down, and because this latex is super sticky, especially if it touches other latex, it's gonna ruin your other latex. So if you're worried about that, just get some baby powder or cornstarch or anything and just kind of dust it on there, and it'll keep it from sticking to anything. All right, got my right hand ready to go with the poison bottle it's gonna hold. I'm just gonna take this torch and get it hot around the joint right here for the thumb. And I'm just gonna get it warm where I can push this bottle into it, or beaker into it, and make it go around it.
I'm also gonna do that elbow joint. I really need to get a heat gun. I have one in front up. Torch works great, it just works really fast.
I mean, it's like perfect. Okay. Now, figure out how you want your elbow joint. Get it hot and bend it. Alright, so I bent the arm up first and then out. So it's gonna be sticking out of the guy and then coming up a little bit. Now on the shoulder joint here, it gets really wide. So I'm just taking a cutoff blade for a Dremel and I'm just cutting across it on all the sides just to make it all the same diameter as the arm right here. So I'm just making all this right here the same diameter as this, just so it will slide up in that hole that I drilled out a little bit better instead of that big clump going in there. So, safety glasses, Dremel cutoff disc, and get to it. Okay, whatever we're gonna do, get that material down. Shove it in your hole there. Mine's probably still a little bit too big. Maybe I can waller it out with the arm here. Make it fit in there. Perfect. Okay. So, that is how the arms are going to be on this guy. Got to get the E6000, get this arm glued, and let it sit. Potion will be in there like that. Poison, I mean. And these are really long, freaky, creepy arms for this body. With the head, it's gonna be looking just right. So I'm gonna get this glued, let it dry. The head's still drying, and then I will be back for more. Alright, this could be a complete disaster because I'm getting anxious and I don't want to wait, like always. The liquid latex on the table is dry. The skull foam clay is not dry, but I'm always so anxious. I'm gonna see how it works. I'm just gonna sit it down in the middle. Maybe I'll go towards one of the ends. That might be the best way to do it.
Start peeling it up here. This one has dried for a few hours now. Fall. Don't let it fall like that. This stuff is so cool. I think I'll start on the back side here. Damn you. Dang it! Dang! Well, stretched it too much. That's okay. This time I'm going to put the skull right on it. Right there. And I'm going to roll it as I peel it. Like I said, it could be a disaster. And it might just be. And that hole might be perfect for a horn. That could be perfect for that horn. Not quite working out how I would like it to. Nonetheless, it's going on there.
And this can all be touched up with more liquid latex just painted on it. I'm gonna have it where the mouth is open. Actually, I think this will be just fine. Did say I wanted it freaky looking anyway, right? This should do it. put too much pressure on this nose. I don't know if I just said this or not, but whatever holes that you want in your skull, make sure they're already drilled before you start this process. I think that'll look pretty good. Not too worried about the nose because I can just paint the latex on it. Gonna get a little bit over this eye here. I should have used a Tupperware lid. This table's been used and abused so much it's not nice and smooth for this. Got a hole here, put the horn in it. I did see a little technique this lady has on YouTube, and I don't remember the name of her channel, and I can't find the video. But she did some skulls, and she goes back over it with creepy cloth and liquid latex, and it gives it such a cool effect that I've been in love with it ever since I seen it. I just wish I would have liked or saved the video because I cannot find it. So that's how it's looking now with the latex stretched over it. Of course, it's going to look way different when it's done. But any of the skull area that's showing, I'll go ahead and put some red in there. That way the underlying color is a bloodish color. Make sure my hole's open, won't mess up my tea light. This should be good. You just take anything sharp and poke a hole for your eye, poke a hole for your eye. You can kind of stretch it just a little bit and it'll give you that skin kind of grown over eyelid look. And on the mouth, you can leave it on the mouth and just cut the mouth and pull the mouth open also, and it'll give you that look. But I just did it a little bit here in the corners, just enough to give a little bit of a skin look in them corners, because on this one I didn't want to affect the teeth at all with the latex because I want the teeth to stand out. So there is the skull. Go ahead and pop these eyes open. I do have a couple of little eyeballs that I'm probably going to stick in here. And you can get them right now for these little skulls. If you go to Dollar Tree, they have the black and purple flowers. They have a little eyeball in the middle of it. Those eyeballs are perfect for these little skulls. And they're also fairly decent on the Dollar Tree skulls. So you don't want to cut too much. I mean, you can cut however much you want, but I really want that creepy sunken in eyeball look, so I'm not going to do too much there. Yeah, that'll give a real creepy, nasty look. So you don't have to put the eyeballs in there. You can leave it just like, paint that nice and dark black in there, and it's going to look good too, which I might just end up doing that. Alright, so that's the skull for now. I need the arm to dry on the torso. That way I can go ahead and pop the head on there. As this was the main part I was worried about, rolling it around with it connected to the body. everything else I can do while it's connected on the body. So once the torso is dry, I'll get the head on there and move forward. So the next step, once the arms are dry on this guy, you can see how weird and creepy this thing's gonna look. I went ahead and wrapped the whole body and legs a little bit onto the arms with plastic wrap. And I'm just gonna take my torch and lightly hit it to shrink it, and also to get some holes in here in the body. It's gonna really tighten this stuff up and make it crispy. So. As much or as little as you desire. Definitely do it in a vented area or outside. And you kind of see what I'm talking about here. Get your holes here, right there, so you can paint inside of there, and even squirt some foam, a little bit of expanding foam in there, and then paint it. It'll look like guts coming out. Got little holes all over here and there, kneecap area. The back I'm not too worried about. I mean, I got a nice big hole, which I like. But I wasn't too worried about up here because we're going to be drilling holes and putting the wings in there. The legs are done up right. That's starting to look just right here. Try to get that sun blocked. That's the back. The head came out great. It looks super just creepy. So I think this is going to be a pretty good project. I'll turn the camera around here and get a little better view. All right. So you can see I got some nice good holes here. Just went up on the arms a little bit. All this is going to get covered with toilet paper and liquid latex. I'm going to come down a little bit on this with toilet paper and liquid latex. Not all of it. I'll get some foam in there, get it painted red for guts. Maybe a little toilet paper and latex down here on the knees once I get them bent to the shape I want. And then maybe down to the feet. I want some of the spots open with the plastic and some with the latex and the toilet paper. The back looks great. Got a lot of nice openings. So that is what you want. For the wings, I just drilled a little hole in each shoulder blade in the spot I wanted, and then the nubs that stick up from the wings, just pop it down in your hole, adjust your wing where you want it, get some hot glue, and you can glue it here. If it touches anywhere on your arms or anything, if you want a hot glue, go ahead and do that too. So I got mine kind of like so. They were a little bit lower, it didn't look as good. I wanted them up higher, so. Next is the head. Got them in the pose that I want. All hot glued and situated. Face come out super creepy. So, yeah, that's what you do now. You just go through, glue up your joints however you want your legs, and let everything dry. I got the neck drying. I did a lot of hot glue inside the skull and outside of it, all the way around. You can see inside of there. I got hot glue all around these joints, front and back. Did the feet also. So this guy is going to be in that configuration. I'm gonna go ahead and do the latex and toilet paper, and then I will put the wings on, because I feel like going around those arms with the wings is gonna be kind of a nightmare. So the wings are just gonna be latex with paint, and the head is just gonna be latex with paint. Maybe a little toilet paper here and there. And then on the body, it will be sporadic toilet paper and latex. All right, little change of plans. I'm gonna go ahead and put this foam all over it. Very lightly. Hopefully it still comes out. Probably won't. Nope.
Comes outside, good enough. I'm just going to spread it on the table here. And then I'm going to just get it in my fingers here and just rub it all over. Now, even though you're smashing this on here, it's still going to expand. So don't put anything too thick. Because if you have to cut it, it just gives it that kind of weird look. Just rub it all over. But you know what, over it. Shove some inside here. If you have any holes for the cavity, that'll give it a real good gut look. Guts coming out type of look. I know this ain't the best lighting right now, but that's what I got right this minute. I'm gonna leave the hands alone on mine. I want that skeleton kind of look on the hands. Maybe I'll just do a little on the top, actually. Yeah, a little on the outside of the hands. I'll do a little bit on the head. Just to blend in some of this latex. Maybe some just around the front. A few little bumps on the horns. Some on the chin here. It's gonna look a little weird until it dries up, but once it starts drying and expanding, it's gonna look really good. Maybe a little bit on the nose. If you have any spots of the plastic that ain't sticking down quite hard.
Sure this video is not gonna look good because it says more light required.
blending your blue spots. Really start to look all one solid piece.
Stick it here on my can, let it dry, and then I will come back and show you once it's all dry. Okay, so this has the foam all over it. Gonna let it dry, and then I will come back for a better video. Okay, liquid latex and toilet paper. Just get yourself some toilet paper sheets. Just rip them up. However long of a piece you want to work with. I kind of split mine up because it can be a pain in the butt once you get moving trying to take these apart. Okay, paintbrush. This is Spooktacular Creations liquid latex. This stuff's been really good, but I'm assuming all of the liquid latex is probably going to be pretty comparable. Get some stuff out of the way here. Okay, sorry about this seat squeaking. It's pretty well good looking with all the spray foam and plastic, but I think we can make it look a little better by putting a little bit of latex and toilet paper on this guy. So I'm just going to work on the back here a little bit. Actually, maybe I'll stick to the front here. I'm just going to pick some areas and go over it. So I like to get liquid latex on the piece and then get the toilet paper, lay it on there, and then get some liquid latex on the toilet paper. You gotta be somewhat gentle with the toilet paper because it's gonna want to rip and tear on you, especially once you get some of this liquid latex sticking to your brush, which is gonna happen really quickly. I go fairly heavy on the liquid latex. You see, I'm just dabbing it in there. I'm just going to rotate the guy to do the top and the bottom. And you don't have to go all the way around your piece with the toilet paper. You can use the liquid latex to come all the way around and tie it all together. This has really helped hide any kind of spots you may have missed with the plastic wrap and the expanding foam. Make sure you get that toilet paper nice and wet with this latex. Now I've tried using foam brushes, some of those cheaper synthetic brushes that Dollar Tree has. Just get some decent hair brushes and it works a lot better with this liquid latex. I mean, you can get those cheap paint brushes from Home Depot and Lowe's and Walmart also. Just don't get those white synthetic brushes. Those things are horrible for working with liquid latex. And they just destroy the toilet paper. So do the foam brushes, in my experience. The foam brush just kind of shreds it. And there's this part of the leg. Maybe I'll do a little here. I'm just going to kind of go sporadic, no order or fashion here. Now leaving some of this, or most of this foam is going to make it look really good when you start doing your highlights and your dry brushes, because you got a lot of raised areas to really highlight. And my brush is already starting to stick and tear the toilet paper. That's how quick that happens. Get some over here, the abdomen area. Maybe a little here. You do got to work somewhat quickly because your brush is going to take a beating with this liquid latex. I haven't figured out if there's a way to clean it off of the brushes yet. I'm sure there is. There's probably some kind of chemical you can use, but it may just be cheaper to stick to cheap brushes. And the less chemicals, the better anyway. So I need about 2,000 more hours of video watched before I can monetize on YouTube. And once I can monetize, then that will be creating a budget that I can use for this channel in hopes to make some really cool stuff. There's lots of cool things that I want to make, that I can make. It's just not in my budget. And I can make some really cool stuff. I worked on ships, big 1,000-foot ships for a long time. In the engine room, I was a chief engineer, so I know a little about a lot. There's really not a system that I can't work on. You kind of have to know everything when it comes to engineering on a ship, because when you're stuck out to sea, you don't have help to call. So you have to know how to handle, fix, maintain, and operate all different kinds of systems. So, grateful for that. Really got tired of living on the ocean, so I stopped that. Yeah, I have kids too. I like to see them and be around them, and that just wasn't possible. Now it is, which I'm very grateful for. I love my children. I love doing things with them. I love doing this stuff because they love it. You know, they love all the decorations out in the yard, and it makes me happy. So it's a win-win. But I really want to get into some pneumatic props. Super easy to do, and I'll do DIYs on setting everything up with all the solenoids and the air and the controllers and everything. I just need the budget to get into it. So that is my hopes for doing YouTube, is to be able to do some really cool stuff, props for all different holidays that I can do tutorial videos on, and hopefully one day be able to provide discount codes for the materials to make the props. That would be a perfect world, because there's nothing that I do that anybody out there can't do. I just might know how to do it because of my experiences, but we can all learn together, especially if there's something I don't know how to do. And if you guys have input, information that can help, I'm all ears. Good and bad. Good and bad. You gotta take the good with the bad. Like I say, I'm not doing the whole thing here. So, just kind of getting some areas that stood out to me personally that I thought could look a little better, or use a little mummification. So that's what I'm doing here. I really need to get an overhead camera set up for bench work. Maybe I need to put a little bit on the head. Try to turn it this way. Okay. Maybe just a little bit in here somewhere. And I'm just going to take the straight edge and rip it, since it's more obvious here on the face. Definitely looks better if you don't have any just straight edges when you're doing the liquid latex and toilet paper. And I don't want to go too much on the head anyway, because I do have that hole in the back to stick a light through there, and I'm just using those cheap tea lights, even though they're LED. Once you start stacking layers, it's not going to show up. A little bit there. Maybe I'll hit a piece across the top here, just a short, tiny little piece. Maybe come around the horn with it. And I'm getting latex sticking to me here. Rip off my straight edges and just come around here. I'm gonna have to hold them up. Like I said, make sure you get that latex nice and wet, or I mean the toilet paper, sorry, with the latex. And if you don't get it real wet, your paint's gonna get it wet. And then personally, I go over everything with clear coat, so everything has a wet look to it. I use gloss clear coat, and it also protects the paint. I'm just hitting some areas with the latex here. Some of the real thin areas that got stretched. Got a piece of plastic sticking up here that doesn't want to work with me. So this is where the toilet paper and liquid latex really comes into use, because you can hide away, hide everything you don't like with this toilet paper and liquid latex. And we're still going to have plenty of raised surface, because we did the expanding foam over the plastic wrap. Okay. So a little bit on the head here, a little up here around the horn. Got some here. I did the neck front and back just because I had a lot of hot glue there. Didn't like to hide it. Some here, across there, down the leg here. Got some over here. Some down here. I'm not going to do any down here. I think that will be enough. I don't want to add too much because I want this thing to be really weird looking. So I think that's the perfect amount for this guy. I do have a little bit of a thin area here with the plastic. So I will get a little more liquid latex. Into here. This guy's really solid too. All these joints, I put big gobs of hot glue in there. Doesn't mean it won't break, but it's pretty solid. Another good thing about putting this liquid latex over the plastic wrap is your paint sticks a lot better to the liquid latex than it does the plastic wrap. Maybe I'll get a little bit on here. Just so the paint sticks good. I mean, most of this that I've done, I did a nice layer of the expanding foam, so paint will stick fine. Get a little bit on this leg here. This stuff dries kind of a yellowish hue to it. And I posed him where his feet are nice and flat, so in the future I thought maybe if I do a diorama, like a giant diorama, then I can have this guy inside of it, flying in it or something. Thought about maybe doing like a big 5 or 6 foot pumpkin diorama with like a life-size skeleton in it. This guy, I have that owl that I want to do eating a rat, corpse that thing. Thought that would be kind of cool. I haven't seen any big, 5, 6 foot pumpkin dioramas. See a lot of little ones, seen a lot of big pumpkins, but no diorama pumpkins that are that big. And we got from this Halloween of 2022 all the way until Halloween of 2023 to get ready. I'm just doing little projects like this right now to maybe add to the display I already have out. But as far as making any more big projects for this Halloween, I'm pretty much wrapped up on that. So that's going to be it on the latex and toilet paper for this guy. Gonna let this dry. This will take, I'll give it an hour. And then I will come back. Oh, you know what? Actually, I forgot. I have the wings out here. And there's a few spots I just wanted to hit on the wings. The back part of the wing, I don't care too much. It looks pretty good anyway. So just on the front, I just wanted to get a little more liquid latex on the bare spots. It's gonna help bond it, and it's gonna blend it and make it look a lot better. Don't go too heavy over the bone areas if you want the bone to show up. I am gonna paint these wings with some watered down black. So like I said, I'm not doing too much. I'm just going over the fronts here where the bones are showing. Not too heavy of a layer. And then where I got the holes from stretching it, just a little bit of buildup on there. Thinking about getting one of those prop spinning motors. It's just a hanging spin motor. Maybe I can just have this out on the front porch just spinning around. Okay, so that's it on the wings. Not gonna do any on the back on this one. You know what? I'll just hit the bones right there. Just a little bit. Maybe where that hole is. And that's it for that. Stand it up here. Give this guy a good hour to dry. Should be dry before then, but I'll give it a good hour. I pour my latex into these little Tupperware things. There's not much in there right now, so it's gonna dry up, but you know, when you're a quarter of the way or a third of the way full in these, this thing worked really good at keeping it airtight, and you can come right back to it and use your liquid latex. So that way you don't waste it, and that way you ain't pouring it back into your main source. So these are nice for that. The brush is toast for me once I'm done doing what I'm doing with the liquid latex. Like I said, this stuff here is pretty good. The Spooktacular Creations liquid latex. I got it off of Amazon. It was a 2-pack special of liquid latex and fake blood, which I don't really need the fake blood, but it was worth it for the special. All right, I got a little bit of toilet paper left over. I'll save it for the next thing. Let this guy dry. We'll come back, we'll glue the wings on, and then we will get to painting this guy. And that will be it on the creepy goblin. I can't really say skeleton guy. Well, he's got skeleton hands and feet still. So we'll just call him the creepy goblin. I think that'll be good for it. All right, guys, all dry. I've got some black paint here, and I got my airbrush ready to go. You can just brush it on if you don't have an airbrush. If you do got an airbrush, I've used this stuff called Too Thin, which thins out the paint and helps it go through the brush better. But I've never used this type of paint through an airbrush, so I don't even know if it's gonna work. So I just got a little cap, filled it halfway with paint and halfway with Too Thin. I guess technically you could just use water, dilute it with water, just so you get it real thin so it'll go through the airbrush. Let me kick on the compressor, and I'll plug it in first, because that usually helps to be plugged in. I run mine about 40 PSI, I guess. So here is the guy. I think he looks pretty good. I did not do the wings glued on yet, because I thought maybe it'd be a little bit easier to get this painted, then paint the wings, then stick them in there and glue them on. So I'm gonna give this a try here. Probably needs a little more Too Thin in this one. First. I will go ahead and hit the teeth. That way, in between the teeth is already dark. So we got the darkness done. Now I gotta do the top of the hands, actually. Could go ahead and hit the bottom of the feet too. Why not? This is just a base coat from me. I think that's looking just about where I would like it. Maybe a little on the body where my hands were getting it. Okay. Think that's what I like. Yeah, you know what? A little more on the arms. I'm digging it. I'm digging it now. I know I said that a bunch of times, but now I am. So this guy is nice and dark. I'm gonna let him dry up. Let me grab the...
I'm gonna set this one back here. It'll catch whatever dries out. Pretty good. Don't want to go too heavy because it's still going to throw some other colors on here.
Okay. I think that's perfect. Get this other one. Okay, there's the other wing. Looks good. You can see the bones through it, through that liquid latex, or dried latex now. Okay, I'm gonna let that black dry, and then I will be back to figure out what the heck we're gonna do next with paint.